Hi, I'm Jeanne Fiorini. Thanks for being here at the Tarot Tips. I was surprised when I looked back and realized it had been over a year since I've posted a video. I didn't intend to take a sabbatical. I just haven't felt like I had anything interesting or useful to contribute to the mix. But some things have happened recently in readings that it occurs to me might be interesting for anybody who works with tarot to think about and to consider. Things that have to do with both card combinations as well as some situations and ethical sorts of things that come up when you read tarot cards, either for yourself or for other people. So with that in mind, this is tarot tip number 95. I think the next series of videos will be less about mechanics, what cards mean and how to deal with certain situations, and more about examples from actual readings, what readings can teach us about how both human nature works and maybe a little bit about how the tarot works. So with that in mind, I hope to be posting something at least monthly, maybe a little bit more often. So thank you for participating in the Tarot Tips. We have a wonderful worldwide community of people who are interested in learning how to use cards effectively for themselves. So thank you very much for that. The example I want to talk about today occurred with a woman for whom I've been doing readings several years. She's an intuitive woman in her own right, and essentially when we do readings, what happens is we reinforce what she already knows. She finds readings helpful in her family dynamics as well as with her work situations. She owns a business, so there's, as you might expect, a lot of dynamics going on there. So that's kind of the context out of which we do our readings. This person has a 20-year-old daughter from whom she's estranged and has been estranged for several years. So we occasionally, pretty regularly when we do a reading, check in with that daughter. Now, this does raise an issue of privacy, which I'm going to deal with in the next video. About when is it okay to kind of look in on other people when you're doing readings. But let's just put that off to the side for right now. Because there is a physical and emotional distance between this mom and this daughter, the mom is always looking for information about how's my daughter, how's she doing. Most of it has to do with safety and health issues. So with that in mind, over the recent readings, over the last year or so, we've pulled cards, and pretty much across the board, consistently, I've been getting good cards for the daughter. Things, what we would call a good card. Queen of Wands, Three of Cups, Three of Pentacles, things like this. On a fairly regular basis, that the girl is headstrong, the girl is doing her own thing. I never got a whiff of any difficulty or problem that, serious problem that this girl was having. Well, after our last reading, the client called me later in the day and she said, I've learned that my daughter's been arrested. So, without any further details, as a reader, that brings up the question of, okay, what's going on here? How do I deal with something that I never got a clue about, didn't show up in the cards? What's that about? So I don't have the answer to that, but I'm going to put out a couple of possible explanations, and these are things to consider. These are things that will happen when you read for yourself and for other people. You got something over here and then something else totally different over here happened. Why is that? What's going on there? So I've come up with three possible answers or responses to, well, what gives there. The first one is I pulled the wrong cards. We do readings on the phone most of the time, remote readings. So it's possible, I pulled the wrong cards or ineffective cards for the question. Certainly everybody makes mistakes. Certainly everybody, nobody's perfect, tarot readers included, especially tarot readers. But there was a consistency to the message that makes me say, yeah, but, to that possible response to what gives here. The second thing is that I misinterpreted the cards. So maybe those were the correct cards, given the situation, but I misinterpreted them. Again, possible. But I really have to say I never got a negative vibe from what was going on with the girl. It always felt to me like she was, yes, headstrong, determined, independent. I never got the sense that she was in any kind of serious trouble, which apparently she is. So the third scenario that I've come up with, and I'm open to other people's interpretation of what happens when the cards just don't give us a true version of what's going on, is that maybe those cards, those pleasant cards, those empowered cards, those good cards were what the client needed to hear at the time. That being an intuitive person, if I had, or if the cards had conveyed some sort of negative message, I can picture that my client might have just gone off the deep end and either interfered in something or worried herself over something that she couldn't control or might have made matters worse. So I wonder if we got good cards because that was what was in the client's best interest. Something to think about. When people ask me what happens in a tarot reading, the answer that I've distilled over 25 plus years of reading tarot is that a tarot reading is an opportunity for us to have a conversation that is in the highest good and greatest benefit to the client at that given moment. So with that, so it's not about being right. It's not about being an absolute mirror for physical reality. It's about what does that client need today. And that's not to say we should make up stuff. All I'm saying is that if I'm looking for an explanation about why we got something for this 20-year-old that was clearly very different than what was going on for her, why is that? What's that about? What does a tarot reader do with that? And kind of how do you move forward in your readings when that happens? So give some thought and consideration to your role as a reader. Again, whether you're reading for yourself or other people. Is it the function of the reading to tell me what I need to know in a given moment? And then help me to get to my best possible resolution? These are things to think about, important considerations for anybody who's going to be reading tarot for yourself or for other people. Food for thought. The next video will be about this issue of when is it okay to check in with other people. Thanks for being here. I appreciate your participation in this series of tarot tip videos. See you next time.